Hey guys, today we're dividing complex numbers. It's also referred to as rationalizing complex numbers. So you'll hear both of those terms. We have 5 guided practice examples to go through. The first one is 8 over 5i. So most of the division that you're going to see is going to be shown with a fraction bar. When you're dividing complex numbers, you can't have an I in the denominator, so you need to multiply that fraction by I over I in order to rationalize the denominator, which basically means get rid of the I in the denominator. So when you do that, you end up with 8i in the numerator and then 5i squared in the denominator. And remember how we said I squared is equal to -1. So anytime you have an I squared, you're going to replace that by -1. And now you have 8i in the numerator and the denominator is 5 times -1, so that's -5. Notice you don't have I in the denominator anymore. So this would be your simplified form. In this next example, you'll notice you have 2 terms in the numerator, -4 minus 3i and over 3i. So we start by multiplying the fraction by I over I. Because the numerator has 2 terms, we're going to have to group it so that you can distribute the I. I times -4 is -4i. I times -3i is -3i squared. The denominator is 3i squared. I'm going to simplify by getting rid of the I squareds. I'm switching those out to -1. So my numerator now is -4i. -3 times -1 is +3. In the denominator, I'm switching out that I squared with -1. So 3 times -1 is -3. Now, because it's still 2 parts, you're going to have to split this fraction to simplify it more. So let's go over here. -4i over -3 plus 3 over -3. So basically I just took that fraction and made it into 2 smaller fractions. And then I'm going to simplify. So -4 over -3 is just 4 over 3 with the I. And then right here, 3 over -3 is -1. And you want to make sure that you write it so that the real number is first. So this -1 is going to be written first, and then the imaginary is going to be written next to it. So -1 plus 4/3 I. And that would be your simplified expression. This next one has 2 terms in the denominator. So when you see 2 terms in the denominator, you're going to have to do what's called multiplying by the conjugate. The conjugate is where you have the same front term and the same back term, but the only difference is that the sign in the middle, so this is plus, is going to be the opposite. So this one's going to be minus. And remember, whatever you do to a fraction, if you multiply to the bottom, you're going to also multiply to the top. So 1 minus 5i. Okay. So now I'm going to distribute. That's 5. Distribute again. That's -25i. Down at the bottom, you'll notice it's 2 terms times 2 terms. So you're going to do FOIL or double distribute, whichever way you refer to it. 1 times 1 is 1. 1 times -5i is -5i. +5i times 1 is +5i. And +5i times -5i is -25i squared. So now I'm going to simplify the denominator more. The -5i and the +5i cancel each other. This I squared is switching out to -1. So really this value is -25 times -1, which is +25. So the total value of my denominator is 1 plus 26. Oh, sorry, 1 plus 25, which is 26. And then my numerator, 5 minus 25i. Again, because there's 2 parts to my numerator, here and here, I'm going to have to split that fraction to simplify it more. So I have 5 over 26, and I have -25i over 26. And you'll notice for this particular example, both fractions are already simplified, can't simplify it more, so this is the final expression. Okay, next example, 4i over negative 3 plus 2i. Multiply by the conjugate, so that's negative 3 minus 2i. Multiply it to the numerator as well. Distribute. 4i times negative 3 is negative 12i. 4i times negative 2i is negative 8i squared. The denominator, multiply, that's going to give me negative 3 times negative 3 is 9. Multiply, that's a positive 6i. Underneath, negative 6i, and underneath, negative 4i squared. These middle i's cancel. This I squared is really negative 1. So this is really the value of positive 4. Combine the reals, that's 13. This I squared is negative 1. So I'm going to simplify my numerator some more because this is really, let's see, right, oops. This right here is really plus 8. So I have negative 12i plus 8 over 13. Split the fraction, negative 12i over 13 and plus 8 over 13. Make sure you rewrite it so that the real number is first. So 8 over 13 minus 12 over 13i. That's your simplified expression. Last example. This one has 2 terms on the top and 2 terms on the bottom. So this one's a little bit different. 1 minus 7i over 9 minus 9i. Same step, multiply by the conjugate. So the conjugate is 9 plus 9i. Also multiply it to the numerator, so 9 plus 9i. Okay, since the numerator has 2 terms, you're going to want to put parentheses around that, and then you're going to need to double distribute. Ooh, this does not have space. So I'm going to show the work over here, and you might want to show your work out to the side as well. So 1 minus 7i times 9 plus 9i. So when I multiply here, I get 9. Here, I get plus 9i. Underneath is negative 63i, and underneath is negative 63i squared. This does not cancel in the middle, notice, so be careful with that. I squared still becomes negative 1. So this is really plus 63. So when I combine it, I'm combining my reals right here. So 9 plus 63, so that's going to give me 72. And then 9 minus 63, negative 54, I. So this right here is, oh, I shouldn't have boxed that. That right here is just my numerator. Okay, so I'm going to move it over here. So I have 72 minus 54i. Okay, so now maybe I should do a different color. Let's see right here. I'm going to multiply the denominator. So 9 minus 9i times 9 plus 9i. 9 times 9 is 81. 9 times 9i is positive 81i. Underneath, negative 81i. And underneath, negative 81i squared. Now the 2 in the middle cancel, so that's good. Right here, I squared is negative 1, so that's really positive 81. So then you have 81 plus 81, so that's going to give me 162, and this is going to be my denominator simplified. So I'm going to put that over here, 162. Has 2 parts in the numerator, so I'm going to have to split this. I am going to need to make all of this work smaller so I can have some space. Let's try that again. Nope. Resize it, make this smaller, make that smaller, and make this move this out of the way, resize it. Okay. Okay, so let me do my split. So that's 72 over 162 minus 54i over 162. So you're going to want to simplify those fractions. 72 divided by 162. Make sure you turn it to a fraction. Don't use the decimals. So that's 4 over 9. And then 54 divided by 162. Switch that out to a fraction. That's going to give me 1/3. So this is negative 1/3. And then my I is right here. So this is your final simplified answer.